Well, day 4. Here we go. Still on the Erie Canal. As you can see, nice and smooth. That's the nice part about being on the Erie Canal, is that I have not had any rough weather whatsoever the whole time I was here. Um, Everything is so smooth, and everything goes good. So normally when that happens, there's really not a whole lot to report, except, you know, everything's going good because of, your tree lines, and the canal is so narrow. The water stays pretty much, calm the whole way. I really didn't have one day that I experienced while I was on the Erie Canal that I can say was bad at all. Matter of fact, most of the time, no ripples and hardly anything. The water was just crystal clear as glass, just like it is now. And that's the majority of the trip. Um, this is day 4 now, and I'm taking off again, getting ready to take off. Uh, this is another short film. There's really not a whole lot I can say, pretty much because everything was uneventful, and that's kind of the way you like it anyway. You don't want a whole lot of major headaches going on, so um, everything is working just fine. I was just finished talking. I'm talking to a gentleman by the name of John here, who him and his girlfriend or wife, I didn't ask, is having they're doing also the Great Loop, but they're doing it on a catamaran with a much smaller engine, so they're traveling a lot slower than I am. So we're kind of talking about, well, maybe maybe they'll catch up one day or someday, maybe when I stop for a day or two, uh, to take it easy. So we're just kind of saying our goodbyes now, and I'm getting ready to go ahead and shove off and continue on the journey. Pretty much uneventful, except for the fact that I did get to go through a little section of the canal that was still the original canal. Um, the canal was expanded twice. Once in the 1830s, 1840s, somewhere around there, and then again in the 1920s, I think, or 1910. They expanded it again. So every time they expand it, obviously they take down the original walls, and they put up new walls. So you can see the difference in the walls, where some of the walls look a lot smoother, and in some of the sections you can also have you can also see the original wall. Now there's not too many places left on the canal that still have the original walls. I did happen to come across a section where there was a sign posted where that was the original walls of the Erie Canal. So apparently, instead of expanding it on both sides, they only expanded it on one side, leaving the original walls still there. Uh, and that's about. I'm not sure exactly how much of the original walls are still in the canal, but it's not a whole lot. A lot of them are gone already. But thanks to whoever decided to leave part of the wall there. As far as for history purpose, it's nice to see that some of it is still there. And I was able to take some video of that. You'll be able to see it here shortly as we go down the canal. A lot of the canal had a lot of these small little towns like this. Very small populations, but they all basically have very old town hall areas, very historic areas where the buildings are in the late 1800s. Some of them have been restored. Some of them are basically just locked up where you can't go in them. but you can see the original buildings as they were built back in the 1800s. Very nice historic view of these little towns as you're going down the canal. If you ever decide to do a trip, I mean, to me personally, this would be one that I would love to take from one end of the Erie Canal to the other end. It's about a 350-mile stretch. Uh, a lot of people do them on bicycles. There is a bicycle route, a bike route that goes all along the canal from the beginning to the end. And a lot of the bikers bike that are biking, doing the trail on the bikes, have their camping gear, because you're allowed to stay at these little wherever there's a lock. They normally have like a little park or something, and you're allowed to go ahead and tie up to that and stay in the little area. Most of them do provide a shower and a toilet, but some of them only have porta potties. So and there's a guide that you can purchase that will tell you which parks will have the porta potties and which parks will have showers, and some of the little towns that you're allowed to stay in also will have showers. The town that I stayed up here at the end of the film, they also had showers and toilets provided, and we just tied up to the wall, and it's free to tie up. Matter of fact, we even hooked up to electric and water. It didn't cost us anything, so I could see why marinas around here wouldn't make a whole lot of money, especially when all these little towns want you to tie up in their little town, because they know you're going to spend money if you tie up there. So they want to provide you with the wall. I mean, it's not docks or anything like that. It's just basically you're tying off the wall. What they do is they'll put some cleats in so that you can tie up to the wall as you're coming in, and you're allowed to stay there. And really never said how long you're allowed to stay there, but I imagine you can stay there as long as you want, because the longer you stay, the more money you're going to spend. But this is, like I said, here's the scenic route as far as I'm concerned. And if you ever want to do any type of a trip, either by boat or you want to do it by bike, this is a very nice area to do it in. I would definitely, living in Florida, I would definitely buy me a plane ticket and fly to either Buffalo, and you can go that way. That's the end of the Erie Canal, because it goes out into Lake Erie. So you can go to Buffalo and head upward, or you can go into New York and up into the Hudson River, the Mohawk River, and there you can get on the Erie Canal and head south, or west, actually, heading west. You're actually following Lake Ontario, and it comes out in Lake Erie and Buffalo, New York. But it's a very, very nice trip to do. If I had more time, it would have been nice to stop and kind of visit all the little towns. But I did. Now I basically visited just the towns where I tied up overnight on. I did stay a couple of times. I stayed an extra day just to take it easy, just to get off the boat. It was nice and comfortable. Take out my camping chair and just set it on the grass on the park somewhere area, and lay down and just sit there for a little while. Sometimes I'd even fall asleep, and that was good for me, because it gets me off the boat. I know I'm enjoying the trip. There's nothing wrong with when you spend all day and all night on board the boat. It's not a bad idea to be able to get off the boat and spend a few hours off, not on the boat itself. But it's not hard. I got over it real easy, and back on the boat, and let's keep going, because I wanted to keep moving. Here's one of those bridges that goes up. They got tons of these bridges all over the place on the Erie Canal, and they go up. And I don't know why they do them like this, but they're all lip bridges. This is a little town that I stayed overnight also. So, and this area was also pretty nice. All, the town itself was very friendly. Everybody helped out. Any questions that you might have, all you had to do was ask, and they were more than glad to help you. I think if I was to do this again, like I said, I would do it where I could have more time and spend. And you can see these buildings. Some of these are late 1800s. Okay, they were built in the late 1800s, and some of them are still functioning. Some of them are still, they might not be being used. That's what they were originally built for, but they're still being used. And historically, they've been kept up to date. And as far as painting them, keeping them nice and neat, they're very interesting little cities. Now here's part of the wall that's the original canal. Like I said earlier, the canal was expanded twice, so some of the old walls were removed, and you can see the difference between the walls on the right side and the walls on the left side. They look entirely different. And that's because when they expanded this little area, they expanded it to the left and left the original walls on the right. And I think, I'm hoping that they did this with the intention that they wanted to preserve the original walls of the canal. And even though it's not a whole lot of it left, the fact that there's still some left, it's nice to know, because you can actually see history itself. The original walls of the Erie Canal, and even some sections are still there. In other sections, they've actually, both sides of the walls were taken down, and the canal was widened. So you lost the walls, the original walls from the canal on there. But all in all, it's a nice little trip. And like I said, I wouldn't mind taking this trip again, and maybe even taking it a little bit longer, and doing it on a boat. There's really tons of places, tons of little cities, shops, or little towns, townships as they call them, where you can stay tied up overnight, 2 or 3 days. You don't have to worry about, it doesn't cost you anything. They provide electric, they provide water. And again, it's because they want you to come visit their little town. They know you're going to spend money if you stay there. So I would definitely, if I was to come up with a tour of some kind, this would probably be it. Do a tour of the Erie Canal. Very interesting, very nice to see. And I would definitely like to someday maybe come back and do it again. Like I said, you can rent some boats, which turn out to be pretty expensive. But anyway, I don't know whether you can actually see this or not, but I'm coming up to this bridge here. And to the right side of the bridge, you might not be able to see it, but to the right, on the right side by the tree line, there's a team of horses that's trying to cross the bridge, and the horses didn't want to go across, so they turned around and went back the other way. So the poor guy, it's an Amish gentleman, and he's in a carriage, okay, and he was sitting in the carriage, and the horses just did a dead stop right on the bridge. Didn't even get on the bridge. They turned around on their own and started heading back the other way. Of course, the Amish gentleman had to stop them from moving again. And then his second attempt is he grabs the reins from the front. Now he's off. He's no longer sitting in the buggy. And you can see he's trying to cross them with him in front. Now he gets about a quarter of the way and decides, okay, now I can get back on my buggy and keep going. Well, when he turns around and walks back to his buggy, these horses decided to go backwards. And as they're going backwards, he's trying to stop them. He gets back on the buggy and he's trying to stop them from turning around, and they turn around anyway, and they go back. So this is his second attempt now to try and get these horses to go across. The third time that he tries to do it, in the meantime, he's backing traffic up. There's no cars. You can see there's some cars going through now because they're trying to clear some of the traffic that's been backed up because these horses don't want to cross the bridge. So I guess they decided, let's go ahead and let some of these people go across, and then we'll try it again. Now he's going to attempt to do this again, and he's going to be successful sooner or later, because these horses have to get across the bridge one way or the other. So what he does is he gets off the buggy, and he holds on to the reins in the front of the horses, and now he's pulling them over the bridge. And what he did basically is just walk them all the way across the bridge. He never got back on his buggy that he was sitting on. And he walks them all the way across the bridge. And that finally works. And once he gets them across, then they went ahead and opened the bridge for me so I could go ahead and go through. And as you can see, here it is, it's opening up, and now I'm clear to go through the bridge. I'm going to try and play this little segment on its own without me deleting the video, so that you can hear our conversation. I'm talking to the lady that's in charge of opening and closing this bridge about the horses and stuff, and she said, well, I guess they're pretty stubborn horses, but eventually he did get them across, and they were able to open up the bridge. This is probably the highlight of my trip today, watching these two horses trying to get across. I know it's kind of boring, but hey, what else am I gonna do? I have all the time in the world. I'm in no rush to get anywhere, to be anywhere in particular. So I decided, well, okay, this is the highlight of my day. Is these two horses and this Amish gentleman trying to get him to cross the bridge. He finally did. And as I was going past this canal, I went ahead and radioed the lady and kind of thanked her for opening the bridge up for me. And she says, well, I'll see you again, because I'm the one that's got to go and open up the second bridge. So she went ahead and did that. And here's where I decided to tie up for the night. And here's where I met two couples that actually turned out to be pretty nice guys. The couples are John and Renee, husband and wife team. They were on their boat, and then their friend Rihanna and the Air Force guy. That's it. That's him. Anyway, we're going to talk about that in the next video. This is the end for now. Thank you for watching. Bye.